Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What we're going to do today is get this thing started. Just to kind of recap, if you haven't watched the other videos, this is a 1967 Mustang 289. The issues that I've had since I've owned it is just a real weird antifreeze leak. I mean, just kind of like intermittent, and it only happens when it's stopped. Like, it doesn't leak when it's running, but when you stop and park it for like a couple days, then your floor is full of antifreeze, and I could never really figure it out. So I decided this winter was a good time to tear it down and look at it. I got to the point where I was eating through a lot of antifreeze, and it got annoying to drive it because I was always putting so much back in it. So I just kind of stopped driving it towards the end of summer until I figured it out. Tore it apart. Basically it's all back together now, obviously, but I tore it apart and found out the issue was the intake gasket, the intake manifold gaskets. This Edelbrock has some kind of real specific ways that you're supposed to install their intake manifold here, and it looks like it was just leaking because it was using like a Felpro gasket, and the back passenger side was leaking. That's back at 124 number 4 cylinder area was leaking. So, and I'm assuming it's just because once it was kind of at the top part of the gasket. So I think what was happening is once it stopped and all the water kind of settled to the back of the engine when I parked it in my garage, that, you know, it started leaking there. So, or maybe when it even got heated up, maybe when the intake manifold heated up, you know, it sealed that off, and then once it cooled down, then it started leaking. I'm not exactly sure, but I pulled the intake and the heads off, and I pulled the heads off just precaution. I was already that far down. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have, but, you know, I'm glad I know what's there, and, you know, it's all done. So we got everything set. You saw my previous videos where we put everything, tore it apart, put it all back together. I did install a Pertronix igniter, like electronic ignition, and pulled out the points. So that's kind of like the upgrade that I did. Other than that, I mean, your basic stuff. I put plugs in it, distributor, rotor, changed oil, kind of gave everything a cleaning when I put it back together. Now I have everything set up. As you can see, I got the timing light ready. It's already hooked up. This is an Amazon special timing light. I didn't pay a lot for it, because heck, I'll probably only use it once or twice. I think I paid like 40 bucks for it. And it has the RPM reading on the back, which is nice. And it lets you pick 2 or 4 stroke. And you can do timing advanced and the whole 9 yards. It's kind of nice for the price, for as much as I'll use it. With that being said, we're about ready to fire this thing off. I'm going to double check the antifreeze level. I got my voltmeter here hooked up, because with the Pertronix you want a 12 volt constant to the coil, and I already tested with the key on. I get 12 volts to the coil. You gotta watch not to leave the key on with getting constant 12 volts at all times, because I've heard that it will burn out the Pertronix. So leave it in accessory mode, and then if, you know, just the start mode is only when you're firing it off. I tried to tidy up some of the wiring. I mean, obviously you're going to see all these wires, which is just timing light and my the voltmeter. But we'll kind of measure the volts. Something you need to know too is when you time these things, you want to take off the vacuum advance, because obviously you don't want it to be advancing. So you want to take this off and put a plug on it, and I got a thing of plugs. That way I can do that. But I'm just going to start it right now. Just go from there, let it run. Hopefully everything starts fine, and then we'll do timing. So let's do this. Alright guys, I'll be honest with you. First fire up sucked. Reason being is I didn't pay much attention, and the distributor on this 289 spins counterclockwise. Well, when I put the plug wires on, I put them on clockwise. So it was firing completely opposite of what it needed to. So, round 2, let's go. started super easy once I had the plug wires the right way. They started so sweet once it was set. Now you're probably going to see a lot of smoke, but since I took the heads off, obviously there's going to be smoke because there's antifreeze got everywhere, right? So I'm not surprised. So I'm going to let it run for a few minutes, and then we'll go from there. Woo! Another helpful tip, when you start it up, always check for leaks. Had a little bit of a gas leak where it goes from the fuel pump into the little regulator. So I'll tighten that down, good as new. So far I'm happy. I'm happy it started up. It seems to run good, nice and smooth. So I'll get this tightened up and then we'll do the timing. All right guys, hopefully you can hear me a little bit. She runs. Still burning some steam out of it, no big deal. Set the timing, as you can see. I got it about 10 degrees advanced. And that's where it seems to like it. Got it idle at about 800, mid 800 RPM. So she's there. Next video you're going to see, next clip you'll see is it driving. Alright guys, that's a wrap. This thing's running, doing good, sounds awesome, starts great, got the timing set, got the idle reset. I mean, I'm just pumped. I don't know if my expression shows it, but I am pumped that this thing's back together and going. It sounds so good. It just runs smooth. The throttle is so responsive now, which I give credit to the electronic ignition for. I mean, it's just ready. I can't wait to drive it. So that basically wraps up this kind of series of the engine, at least. I have more stuff going to be going on this guy. I got a clutch, a few other things I want to do to it. So those will kind of come here shortly. I'm going to kind of switch gears to one of my vehicles, probably the Jeep or the truck, just to give something different. But by all means, hit me up with a comment if you want to see something different, if you want more information on something I did. I didn't really film timing or adjusting the carb because it's hard with the engine running, can't hear me. But I will gladly do that if you need me to, or if you want me to. Just throw a comment in below. Like I said, subscribe, like my channel, like my videos. I mean, I'm just pumped. I'm ready for the drive, ready to drive this. I'll bring you guys along for the first drive. Last drive, I didn't have my GoPro. This one, since I have it, it's going to be a lot better content. So, like I said, we're done. That's a wrap. It's running. No leaks. The smoke is done. This thing's done smoking. You know, it's kind of everything evaporated. When you pull the heads, antifreeze goes everywhere, obviously. So that's why I had some smoke. Tidied up some of the wiring, plug wires. I will admit, as you saw, the first running video didn't go well. Reason being is my plug wires obviously were in the wrong spots. I had the distributor running the wrong way. But it happens, you know. That's the only issue I had. I'm happy. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll end this one here. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.